Welcome to the Grappling Rewind podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind podcast. In this week's show, we're going to recap Kasai Super Series 2 in Orlando. We're going to recap JitzKing, their inaugural event in Tampa. We're going to we're also going to recap SUG 9, and we're going to preview Subversiv 2 and Australian Grappling Championships 4. As always on the show, I'm your host, Maine, joined with my co-host,
Josh.
How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing great, especially since you have a new soundboard that we've already got to play with.
Yeah, Josh gets to my house today to do the episode, and we spent probably 10, 15 minutes just messing with, like, Josh learned that it has an effects processor in it, and it was just me recording Josh yelling into the new microphones we got while I processed effects on the board. So, you're not going to hear any of that.
You will if you follow our Instagram, at Grappling Rewind.
You might. So, after all that, that was fun. It's cool. The board's in. We got a fun weekend. We'll talk about that a little later in the show. But let's get into some news first. So, first big piece of news we have is ADCC related. Lovato has announced he's out of ADCC. I think he was, injury. Was it injury or he had MMA commitments?
Injury.
Okay, he got injured after the Musasi fight.
I think so. That's what I read.
Which is a little kind of like far to pull out of an event, honestly.
Maybe it's a bad injury.
Yeah, I mean, a world title fight.
September. That's ADCC,
How many months ago are we?
That was like a week and a half ago that he had the fight. It's
right.
June, July, August, September, 3 months. So he probably fucked something up pretty bad.
You think it's like a knee? It's like a joint, probably.
It's something. I can't remember. I read it, but I can't remember.
That sucks, though. I love seeing Lovato, and I was actually super amped to see him at ADCC because he's been looking like really top level on like Fight to Win and stuff recently. So
Beast
and, like
mode.
He's beat like Hanger. He beat Spriggs. He beat Hanger, like both by sub in Fight to Win, and both those guys are in ADCC. So. It's like, I'm super disappointed about that. That sucks. In other news, AJ Agazarm got kicked out of GB, apparently.
Homelos, at least.
Oh, just Homelos?
From what I gathered, yes.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, BJJ Scout.
Yeah, I saw it, and I was like, that's super weird. Like,
and of course, that went into another video the following day, today, I think, with them trying to figure out how old AJ Agazarm is.
Oh, yeah, Keenan and Hanger on the Mapburn podcast.
Yes, they were like, "How old is he?" And he's like,
I thought he was like 30, like 4 or 5 or something like that.
According to the evidence via BJJ Scout, he was born in 1985.
Okay,
makes him a year older than me.
Okay,
so and
he
somebody
super
found
young.
Somebody found an Instagram account, I think, or a picture from his Instagram account that said "Birthday Bowl, Acai Bowl," and it's from 2012. And he was 27.
Somebody did like decent research on this. Jesus.
Somewhat better than our research.
Dude, that's not hard. So that's interesting. It'll be interesting to see. I assume AJ will still be. He's not just out of Homelos. I assume he'll still be representing GB. I assume he's been GB forever.
No idea.
At ADCC. So
no idea.
That's kind of a big change that close to ADCC. In other news, there's a seminar happening at Baltimore BJJ coming up.
Yeet, next week, next Sunday. Well. When this comes out, it'll be a couple of days away from when this is released. Sunday, July 14th at Baltimore BJJ, 412 Eastern Boulevard.
Is that the address for the gym?
Yes.
Huh. Yes. I just Googled it. I'm just like, I'm going here.
Yeah. Aaron Hurl will be there, 1 p.m. Anybody in the area, you're welcome. It's only $30.
That's a really good price for her seminar, honestly.
And we have no issue with space. We have 2 matted areas, so if
it's a big gym. We just ran promotions there. Yes, Saturday.
Yes, we did promotions. Austin of Grappling Rewind fame, he was promoted to brown belt.
In fame, there in quotes, there in fame.
Don't talk shit about Austin. That's rude as fuck.
He was on like last week's episode. He saved the fucking show last week.
Right. So now you're over here, fame.
I just don't consider any of us famous, Josh. We're just like guys that talk about jiu-jitsu.
Hey, we're almost in the top 1,000 for sports podcasts, okay?
That's reasonable.
Yeah, it is, you ass.
I gave Josh some of the analytics this last week, and he got excited. So let's see what. Oh yeah, Dave, that runs Just the Tap.
Yes,
got his brown belt as well. So it's been a good brown belting, and it made me super sad. I was like, man, I've just been injured for like a year. This is garbage.
Oh well,
but props to them. Congrats, both of those guys.
I was like, why weren't you at open mat today? Did you drink too much? And then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. You're still injured.
Yeah. So I think that's all I got for news. Let's just move into the recaps. Unless you
Brendan Schaub blocked Gabby Garcia on Twitter or Instagram or something because he was talking shit, and she was like, I'll fight you. And Brendan Schaub got scared.
Is that really grappling news, though?
Gabby Garcia.
Yeah, she's back. She's doing Fight to Win and stuff. So
Exactly.
all right, so that does it for this week on news. On to the recaps. So on to our recap of Kasai Super Series 2 in Orlando, Florida. This event took place on July 4th, Independence Day for the United States. And it was fun to watch some jiu-jitsu midday.
America!
On America Day. Yes, so where do you want to start with this one?
Where do you want to start?
All right, well, let's start the main event then.
We're going to stop at the top.
Well, let's start at the top of the card.
Okay.
Renato Canuto defeating Dante Leon 5-4. There was a ton of controversy in this match for did Dante score points on the final take. Honestly, this match
There was fuckery, is what you're saying?
no, there wasn't though. I think it was just scored in a funny way for Leon. So if you haven't seen the match, go back and watch the match. These dudes were moving, and dude, whenever Canuto is on Fight to Win, whenever Leon is on not Fight to Win, on Kasai. The dudes go for the finish, and they push a pace.
You know what I have an issue with Kasai? And it's not like a terrible thing, but twice this has happened now where Dante Leon has been going for somebody's back, and they don't just freeze them and drag them back in. They gave Dante 2 points for that, but now he's not on the back or close to the back.
They do the same.
I think that kind of sucks for
we
the
saw
person
that a couple
attacking the back.
times this weekend where guys would be on the back and like in a sub, and then you'd reset them, you give them points, but it's like, yo, getting to the back is really, really hard to do.
Like the Nicky Rodriguez match?
Yeah, at Tampa, it happened like 2 or 3 times. Different promotion, different problem, but we saw it a couple times this weekend, and it was interesting.
Yes.
Especially with these high-level guys, getting to dominant positions is so hard, and in like a 5 or 10 or 8, however long the matches are, it's so hard to get there. You may only be able to get there once on a guy, and so to only
Especially
get
on someone like Canuto.
yeah, who's a monster and like a world contention level guy. It was interesting. So what do you want to talk about for this match before we talk about kind of the ending sequence that had all the controversy?
I think I talked about it with the taking of the back thing that they started back up from the feet.
All right. So let's talk about the controversy then at the end. They're going, and Dante Leon Renato Canuto pulls off of Dante Leon's collar tie. And there's a big scramble, and Dante Leon tries to scramble around Renato's legs and then gets into the guard, and then he's awarded 2 points for a takedown. And Canuto kind of throws his hands up like, what? And I was looking like, wait, what?
That shouldn't be scored that way. That's
No.
like you get a gi grip and somebody pulls.
Like, you can count it as an illegal pull, that's fine, but I don't think Kasai has illegal pulls, or like, if they do, like, that's an illegal pull, but you don't get points for an illegal pull. And then
They were tied up and the one guy pulled, so he was making contact to pull guard.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you gave him 2 points.
it was interesting, and like the angle that they had was a little hard to see here, but it was really interesting. And then like it took like 10 minutes to like figure out that okay, it was in fact not a takedown, and that Canuto was able to take the win 5-4.
Do you know how upset Maine was about this? That he was texting the group chat, nobody was responding to him, and he kept complaining about it.
It was just
He's like,
weird.
I'm yelling to myself, but I need to yell.
You know, I get passionate about jiu-jitsu. I get passionate about points and scoring and rules.
My ass was asleep.
It was good. I enjoyed it. So definitely match to watch. Really, really scrambly. Really, really good jiu-jitsu from both guys. It's a matchup I'm honestly not against seeing again.
I would watch it 10 more times
Yeah,
at least.
it was really good. So let's move on to Vagner Rocha defeating Celso Vinicius via points 4-2. How do you say his last name?
Who?
Celso.
Vinicius?
Okay, I got it correct?
Yeah.
Because I always get concerned about his last name because I always feel like I'm butchering it, as with most names.
No, that's actually pretty good enunciation of his last name.
How good is Vagner here?
Awesome. He's a gangster.
Dude,
that's what he is. He's a gangster.
Yeah.
When he got on his back and he started smothering him, and they didn't say don't do that, I was like, God, that's great.
It's refreshing.
That is
Vagner
great.
can just get back there and like, you can't stop me, I'm on your back. And he like opens his mouth and gives like the big tongue out into the camera, and you're like, Wagner's having a good time in Orlando in Orlando right now.
I wish he was competing more this year like he was last year.
Dude, last year and the year before, that dude was on stuff almost every other weekend. And I think, honestly, he's toned it down for ADCC. Like, he's competing on select stuff
That's
now.
true. That's true.
Before that, he was sort of getting an ADCC, like, that pre-competition shape. And now that he's on ADCC, I don't think he wants to take every single thing that's offered to him. He's also
Smart.
beat a lot of, like, the guys in the super fight scene. Like, I assume it's probably getting pretty hard to actually get matchups for him.
somebody will take a matchup against him. Whatever.
I think so he's undefeated in Florida, which is crazy. He said that, and I was like, wait, what? Because the last Kasai, he was like, you can't beat me in Miami. And I thought it was like he just hadn't lost to Miami. No, in Florida, apparently, he is undefeated. Which is a crazy stat to have, that in your home state, you're undefeated.
Yeah, I can't say that.
Nor can I, Josh, in any of the states I've lived.
Not in Florida or in Maryland.
I've got that ass whooped in a multitude of locations.
There you go.
So next match, this is honestly the match, my highlight, just for the cool transition. Craig Jones.
Craig fucking Jones.
Defeating Aaron Tex Johnson via rear naked choke. This was super cool. The transition that he hits here is off from a
Kimura trap.
A basic Kimura trap. And then what Craig Jones does for this transition is amazing.
That's it was straight up like DDS style, attacking the arm and then going to the back off of it.
Yep, he does.
You see Gary and Gordon do it all the time.
Yeah, he just rolls over Tex, and then what he does is, and I don't think a lot of people caught this, is he takes his same side leg that is going to be on the same side hook of the arm he has trapped. And he takes that leg and he pummels it over as he's falling over Tex's back with the Kimura trap, and he traps Tex's wrist. And you can look at 331 in the match video. You can see him do this. And then what he does is he pummels his free leg that's going to be on the far side hook side over to trap the wrist as he takes out the first hook that's trapping the opposite arm, and then throws the hook in, and then throws the other hook in. It was beautiful technique.
It was sick.
It was amazing.
And then he choked him.
And then he choked him. And it was amazing. That whole series that he hit it was so smooth, and that little bit of trapping. Because basically what Tex does is you see him try to flip his hips and come back up into Craig Jones's guard, but because Craig has his hand trapped with that opposite side leg, he can't come back up, and he can't basically do the correct thing to address the Kimura trap, and Craig's able to get the back off of it. So it was the sequence itself was super good, super technical. Go back and watch it, because we're gonna see both these guys on ADCC. We're gonna see a lot of these guys on this card in ADCC.
Yeah, it's really exciting. All of these people getting on these cards and competing in the lead up to arguably the greatest no-gi grappling event that happens.
Yeah.
So it's ooh, okay, we're seeing what they're doing. We see who gets wins over who, et cetera, et cetera.
I also feel like this is the most we've ever seen guys before ADCC be active in one-off matches. I feel like in this era, at least, in 2017, guys were doing matches now and again, but there wasn't just a level of seeing these guys. We've seen these guys compete against each other in the lead up to ADCC. There's almost every card has a matchup with two guys in the same division on ADCC. It's a wild time to be watching professional grappling. So moving on to the next match, we have Talita Alencar defeating Sofia Amarante via armbar. We have JZ Cavalcante defeating George Macaco via guillotine.
Say his first name.
Jorge?
No.
I can't.
Jay-Z.
I can't do Jay-Z's first name.
Josias.
Josias?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's spelled funny. Josias Cavalcante.
Defeating George Macaco Patino
via guillotine. And dude, at one point, Cavalcante hits a drop seonagi, a no-gi one, and the same way that Gary Tonin hits it, where he just drops your face into the mat, and Macaco just goes face first into the mat, and it is a beautiful drop seonagi.
That shit was brutal.
It was awesome. It's he hits it super hard, super fast, great technique. Eventually he's able to secure the guillotine, and he gets the tap. Next match, we have Mansher Khera defeating Enrico Cocco via heel hook. We had some questions kind of going into this for
what Munch would look like, since we haven't seen him compete in a while.
I honestly don't know if we've ever covered him on the show aside from him leaving Marcelo's.
The Team Alpha Male on Quintet. He was on that.
Oh,
team.
okay, he was. Yep. But I think that's the only thing in the lifetime of this show, 90 episodes basically, we've ever covered him on.
Yeah, I think so.
So he gets it done. I mean, he shows why he's
still in there, still hanging
good,
tough,
still heel hooking. Yeah, looked good. Gets a heel hook. Next match, we had Richie Martinez, defeating Gleison TIbau via DQ.
It's listed as 0-0 with 0-1 with the penalty points. They disqualified Gleison
at the end
because he jumped over him and looked like he was Sakuraba double foot stomping him. I thought it was hilarious. Richie Martinez didn't give a shit.
They were cordial after the match, too. There was a picture of them after the match, behind the stage, talking. So they looked cordial.
Yeah, it wasn't
It was a weird match.
I think it was just trying to jump over and just, kind of forgot where he was and was like, "Fuck it, I'm stomping him." And
that's exactly what it looked like. So it was the end of a match. There wasn't Richie was on his butt the entire time. Gleison was kind of passing, kind of engaging. Like not a whole lot really happened in this match. And then at the end, like Gleison jumps over and is like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna jump on him," and does. And the ref goes, "All right," and like DQs him. So that was that match. So let's talk about the next match. Mateus Lutez defeating Valdir Araujo 6-2, and getting
6-3.
6-3. I'm not so good with the numbers, Josh. And getting his leg
twisted in a very bad direction.
It
and
got
you can
crushed.
watch the crowd reaction, and some of the
Yeah, you
guys are
pointed
making
this out.
that like face, and one guy's like, "Oh shit!"
And you can see it. You pointed that. I just watched the match, and I watched the guys. I was looking at Mateus's face because Mateus is like, he's not even no-selling it. He's like pointed away from Valdir, and he's making the "this sucks, this hurts" really bad face. And he's like, you can see like his face is sweating, and he's just making the he's blowing my knee apart, but I'm gonna take it.
You know what that face is?
What's that face?
That face is, I have to shit really bad, and I don't know if I can make it to the bathroom in time. That's that you start to get sweaty, and you're like, am I going to be able to make it to the toilet before I fill my pants with poo?
But his leg's getting ripped apart while it's happening.
Right. So, slightly different scenario, but same look.
Man, so Valdir has, I think honestly, had Valdir had the heel like not in the crook of the elbow and a little like longer, like a little
Higher
closer,
on like the forearm and not up top more.
Yeah.
That most of like the old school guys are still doing, where they keep it in the crook and not on the blade of the arm.
and he kind of adjusts it back a little later to try to get it, but he's able to get it, but I mean Mateus just doesn't tap to it. And
He
just like, all right, this sucks. I'm gonna eat it. And then the crowd. Josh pointed out the crowd to me because there's one guy in particular that you can see is not watching the match. He's watching the big screen, and you can see his face, and it's like, that's the face I'm making. Yeah, that's terrible. But he's like in the front row, and it made me laugh. Mateus eats the heel hook. He basically is able to beat Valdir on like guard passing and like points. Looks good. I mean, Mateus looks good. I really hope he's not super injured after this. He limped off.
Got ADCC.
Is he an ADCC?
Yeah, he got the invite, right? Or was that Mateus Diniz?
I know Diniz did. I don't think Lutez did.
I thought Lutez did.
I could be fucking wrong. We should know this as professional grappling guys. So hopefully he heals up. He's in ADCC. But Valdir looks good. We see Valdir on JitzKing as well in the gi.
He's got a sweet little afro thing going on.
Yeah, dude, he looked good against Penna, and he looked good against. I mean, heel hook Lutez. Like, he's a dude that we hadn't seen a ton of before this last Kasai, and I think we're gonna see a ton more of on super fights because if you can compete with Lutez and like put Lutez in deep water like that, yeah, we're gonna see a lot more of you. Anything else on that match?
Nope.
Next match we have Tony Way defeating John Lineker via inside heel hook.
That one's pretty good. Lineker was coming forward. You know what? He just dropped from a fight because he said he had a face laceration. I didn't see any cuts on his face.
Yeah, I don't know what was that. He got released from the UFC too. He said like, either give me a fight or release me. Nah, dude, he
probably wasn't going to make weight for that fight.
Lineker was missing weight at 25, and then he popped,
missing weight at 35.
He missed weight twice 35, something like that. He's had a bunch of weight cuts. Like, he doesn't have a fear. He's a fun guy to watch as an MMA fighter. Like, he
stands and wangs. Yeah,
dude, he's one of my top guys to watch, especially at bantamweight. Like, he can legit knock out anyone, and he's gonna come at you in the third round. He doesn't gas super hard. But super exciting.
Make weight.
Tony Way defeats him. I think it was a 160 bout. So that's not even. I think Lineker had probably had to cut to make that.
Jesus Christ.
So next match we have Richard Alarcon defeating Junny Ocasio via takedown in overtime. This was actually both these guys competed. I think I want to say twice on the undercard. We're not going to go on the undercard or during our breakdown because it would just get too long. But so they made it into the main card, and this was the I'm going to get this wrong.
35.
It
was listed as 135.
Yep, it was a 135-pound bout
attention to that.
to get into the next, like the main card Kasai at Kasai Pro 6. So I want to talk about just this last takedown sequence that Richard Alarcon's able to hit on Ocasio here. So Richard Alarcon in overtime, and first person to score in overtime is the one that wins. Richard Alarcon goes in on like kind of
a nice double. It's very deep. And Junny does the right thing by gripping the ankle to try to prevent that as he's getting lifted. But he only grabbed one and not both.
But then as he lifted up, he kind of goes over and you think he's going to start setting up like a triangle.
An inverted triangle.
Triangle, yeah.
But he missed that one. He came out. He started to sprawl, but not very hard, and he didn't throw the crossface in there. And there were a few times where he just didn't address certain things in the right time.
Yeah.
To where he could have escaped and saved himself from that, or pulled a leg out really quick.
The other thing
got behind.
that was super impressive was
Alarcon.
Alarcon just kept driving on it, kept singles.
Alarcon.
What did I say?
Alarcon.
Give me his name one more time.
Alarcon.
Richard basically just kept driving on the same. I'm gonna keep messing up his last name. So
He did continue to go in and fight for the leg.
There was
and
like
he
4
eventually,
different transitions that
came
he's able
up
to
into
keep
the
with
turtle and started encroaching. It was I can understand why it's a takedown, but it was kind of close timing wise when they called it. I'm not upset at the fact that it happened, but I could have seen it as not being scored as well, both ways. I'm not oh no, that was not points, but it could have been.
It was super close.
Yeah.
Takedown, and Junny's able to actually pop up to his feet again, and Alarcon's in the process of taking the back here when they actually call the points for it. So, dude, these two dudes are guys that we're going to see a ton more of. I think both are, is Alarcon,
Alarcon?
Alarcon, I think he's a black belt, but I could be wrong. But I knew Junny is a brown belt. We've been covering the purple belt, brown belt out of Unity. So both these dudes are dudes you're going to see a ton more of. You're going to see Richard in Kasai Pro 6, coming off a super impressive run through it. The Kasai Super Series here. Definitely due to watch. Next match, we have Maggie Garandati defeating Bridget Grace via points 5-0.
What's that last name?
Gracie?
No. Maggie?
Garandati?
What?
Grandati?
There we go, because it sounded like you said Garandati.
I did, and I realized that was incorrect after I had said it. Yeah. Maggie looks good.
She looks good here, yeah.
Yeah, she looks good. We're going to see her on JitzKing against a rematch with Amanda Levy. But
later in our coverage.
Yep, on the next event we're previewing or recapping. She looks good here. She gets the points. She gets the win via points. And the final match of the main card.
The first match of the main card, the final one that we're covering, Fabian Rosa defeated Ricky Nelson 8-0. Overall, very good card.
It's a lot of fun.
I like that Kasai's doing this as well, not just Kasai 1, Kasai 2, Kasai 3. They're doing these Super Series where they go around a little bit, find
They're
spots.
going to Brazil next, I think.
For real?
Yeah, I think they announced one. Where was it?
Was that when he announced it when they were talking? Because we were jumping through stuff.
They announced Kasai Brazil. I think it's probably a Super Series at November 16th. So that's right around Thanksgiving. I think there's Kasai Pro 6 coming up, and then Kasai is in November in Brazil. So that's exciting. I know they're going to a bunch of different other places. So super exciting. Looking forward to more events from Kasai. They put on a fun event. They put on legit dudes. They put on amazing matchups. It's up. And honestly, they had their videos up the second the matches were finished.
That was real nice.
That was awesome. Literally, the card was still going on, and I could go back and, replay certain pieces of the matches I was looking for. I was like, God damn, this is amazing. So, I got to watch the Junny and Richard sequence again. I was like, I want to see that again. I immediately got to go click it up and watch it again. So, great card. We're looking forward to more of them. Anything else you got, Josh?
Nope.
All right, on to the next one. So on to our recap of JitzKing. This is their inaugural event, also happening in Florida, in Tampa, Florida. So we saw actually a number of grapplers that were on Kasai, actually on JitzKing as well. That was kind of cool.
Yes.
So where do you want to start with this one, Josh?
At the top?
At the top.
Dan Martinez versus John Combs.
John Combs is good. Very hard to beat. Wins it on points. He was on Dan Martinez's back for a good portion of this match.
They released an article on Flow Grappling how Dan Martinez was like, this is how I'm going to beat him. I was like, I don't know if you want to go on record as saying that or not.
Dude, John Combs is really fucking good. And he got the trial spot. He won the first East Coast trials for ADCC. He was in the gi. He cut down a ton of weight. He got to 160, and this was at 190 for Worlds in the gi, and he fought Lepre there. It's tough to beat, and John Combs looked good. His no-gi looks solid. It'll be cool.
Getting ready for ADCC?
Yeah, he looks like he's honestly prepping for ADCC. He was really active. He didn't accept any positions. He was pathing for the back, looking for the finish.
Mount, stuff like that.
Yep.
It's very good.
Next match, let's talk about Nick Rodriguez versus Jason Race, and this is at 230 pounds.
Nick Rodriguez, man.
Dude, how good is his wrestling? Who in jiu-jitsu you think has...
Oh, plenty of people. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm saying he's a terrible fucking wrestler or anything like that. He's obviously not. Like, he's beating people. He's a blue belt, and he's murking black belts and brown belts and purple belts and everybody, you know. But there's still levels. There are better wrestlers. And when he's at plus 99, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely, yes.
He's going to run into somebody at plus 99 that is better at wrestling than him. But can they keep up his pace? That's the other thing. He's so young that
dude, his low single game is the way in which he shoots and drives in that low single. Like he does that wrestler thing where you get low on like one knee and then you like swipe at the front leg, and he comes up and he's able to pop up once he gets the heel there and bring into that single and that like high single. Like that transition I think is really impressive, and he hits it over and over.
I'm pretty sure that's what he does. He's like, I'm gonna hit this.
Yeah,
and he's got, you know, he has great training partners in the Henzo camp and with Jay and all those other people that are down there or up there in Jersey and New York. But he's not like all-American D1, you know.
I just think like with how he uses his wrestling, I think it was really evident here.
He's
that
super explosive,
super fast, and he can keep the pace.
That and his transition. He's not. I think that's more of what his wrestling is good for. Is he immediately transitions to jiu-jitsu. It's not take down, wait a second, start.
There's not that gap. So he gets guys down,
No.
and then he immediately passes goes to the back, or he's actually taking down into side control. Like
Yes.
he's not doing that wrestler thing where guys like do the front blast double and like they can get it on everyone, but they're gonna end up in the guard. Like
Yeah,
he
he's
is
not
identifying
smashing
it.
his face into the chest and just blasting the legs down. He is.
But you see, he has that, which is
He
interesting
does,
as well. Like,
yes.
he has it in his back pocket. It's interesting. Like, I don't know a ton of wrestling, and what I see Nick do for wrestling is I find it really, really effective to watch, and it puts him in place. And we've seen him develop this over the past like 6 months. Like, he's not ending up in the half guard anymore when he lands.
His athleticism mixed with the level of his wrestling is what is producing all of this success. Not that and training all the fucking time. Like, the dude is submission hungry, which is great for somebody that weight. Mm-hmm. And he's just ready to push. Like, he doesn't want to be slowed down. The first person that slows him down is going to piss him off. He's going to be like, what the fuck? And you could see he was getting frustrated at certain points.
I think
you hear Jay Regalbuto in the back down, like, calm down. Because he was getting frustrated because he was getting positions, and because where the mats were set up on top of like an actual stage, and they could have fallen off, that they stopped it, and he was like, what the hell?
I think he got stopped, 2 or 3 separate times on the back with the choke in, starting to squeeze, and he got stood up and given points for it. And it's like, I think that is mostly, it looked to me like why he was getting really frustrated, because he was like,
my only advice to that is squeeze harder, faster. You should break their fucking jaw. Who like, the first time, okay, maybe they'll start us over. If they do it a second time, I'm going to be like, I'm killing a motherfucker. And like, as soon as my arm gets, like you say, anything above the chest is the
everything
neck.
above the neck is what I say.
Squeeze his fucking face off. Like, just destroy it. That's all I can say. Break his jaw, like, get teeth marks in your arm. Just squeeze his fucking head. Because if that's something that's frustrating you because of your surroundings, your mat area that you have, what's the word? Mat. Oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm blanking on it.
Play space.
Awareness. Mat awareness. So you know you're there because you're blasting into this guy, and then you're getting behind him. But he's moving. Okay, we're getting near the edge. Squeeze his fucking head off. Like, just rip the shit off. That's the only thing. I mean, you could see he was getting pissed because they kept starting him and standing up. And it's like, don't get mad. You're just going to take him down again. But, you know, good on Nicky Rodriguez. Again, another person that I look forward to seeing in ADCC. I'd love to see what he does.
I'm super impressed with what he's like we've covered him a bunch of times. I'm super impressed to see like every time we cover him, he shows like new wrinkles in his game versus like Ash Amos versus Dan Harris.
Wrinkles.
Not
new
wrinkles.
facets.
New facets, but also like he's doing like you're seeing he's not like shirt up his wrestling, but he takes down into side control. Then he passes and he takes the back. You see his back control is better. You see his like ability to get around the legs, but like everything he's doing, he wants to single leg you and get to your back and choke you. And we are seeing him get better and better and better at getting to do those things.
I'm frightened if he starts doing Kimuras to people.
Oh dear God, that'd be terrifying.
I have a
like,
feeling
I don't
he's
have to
gonna
pass
rip
anymore.
dudes' arms off.
Jesus. So that was that match. Next match, let's talk about Amanda Leve versus Maggie Grandati. The rematch from ADCC trials, West Coast trials, that Amanda basically hit a fall-off armbar, like basically a flying armbar on Maggie Grandati and was able to get the victory to win the West Coast trials.
Stop saying Grandati.
What do I keep saying?
Grandati.
What's the correct way to say it?
Grandati.
Grandati. Maggie Grandati. So she hits that, and Amanda Leve is able to win the West Coast trials spot. So they rematch here at JitzKing, and dude, Maggie
good. Takes Amanda down, but there's part of the match where it's like ADCC, no points. So it didn't really matter. And as soon as like points became active, Amanda just turned it up. And she got onto her back and choked her fucking face.
She took her down too.
Yeah.
I think once. It was just like, and she does it. She gets the choke here. It was really interesting. She doesn't have the hooks in. She has one hook in, and she has that like cross body ride hook.
You don't need both hooks to squeeze the shit out of somebody's
It was good,
face.
but you saw her take the neck and then slide up and actually able to get all the way over to the rear naked choke grip here to finish it. It was like really impressive. Again, you don't see a ton of people that are able to finish without both hooks on the rear naked choke. It's not.
You can if you just squeeze the shit out of the face.
Yeah, like you said before, like you can do it, but you don't see it, especially at the level that these two ladies are at. Like you don't see it frequently. Like it is rare. Amanda's got a real good squeeze if she can get that. Like with the one hooks in, she's able to square her chest up enough to get it. I was really impressed with this match. I'm really excited to see what Amanda's going to do at ADCC as well. You know, her and Nick are out of the same camp half the time, so that's super cool. So on to the next match, we have
Jesus Christ. Jose Laguerre versus Valdir Araujo.
This is in the gi.
And at 170 pounds, Valdir is fucking enormous.
Dude, it's got to be a misprint. I don't think. I think it might be 170.
Well, what is Lute is that?
About 170.
So
yeah.
He's probably that. He just looks
Dude, he's
enormous.
just like, Baby Monstro is just like a baby monster. He's a big dude.
Yeah. You know what he has? His hair looks like, though? He, like I said earlier, he's got like that fro-ish look. But he looks like Larry from the Three Stooges. His hair.
Oh my
you know
God.
how it's sort of like balding up at the top, but he's still got all that hair? That's his hairstyle. I dig it. I wish I could grow that.
You should not say that to his face, Josh.
Well, I'm not saying it's bad. I just said I dig it.
Oh, okay. Making sure. I
Like, you look like a dumb fuck. No, I dig it. And it's like, that's what I tried to do when I started going bald. I'm like, I'm holding on to these motherfuckers until, I run it into the ground. And that's what I did.
And then you went bald and you're like, I'm cutting it off.
Yes, exactly. So he's holding on to the shit as long as he can until he's like, fuck it, I got to shave my head. That's what I'm thinking anyway.
Josh, every time on the show, it's just non sequitur after non sequitur
Yeah,
with you about
course.
unrelated jiu-jitsu stuff.
Yeah.
So these guys go a full non-scoring match.
So his hair was the most exciting thing about the match because it was non-scoring and it went to overtime. And he eventually Jose went for a takedown, got sprawled on, and then stood up, and Valdir then bowled him over. And they gave him two originally, and the ref was like, nah, never mind.
And then Valdir goes, I'm going to get mount then, and jumps over to mount, and then he's able to get the points and get the victory off the points. But it was
awkward.
The scoring was really weird there. Like, I would have given him
I would have given him two. He
points.
went back up to his feet.
Yeah, they came back up.
And then he got squished.
Bowled him over, and I think they count reversals as points. So I think, like, even if he gets a reversal on a takedown, like, it's still, like, he ends up on top. So I would have counted that takedown initially as a takedown for points for two. But Valdir's able to he kind of looks like he's going to go for the Kimura for a second there, and he goes, like, pops over to mount, and then that's the match. So next match, we had Andre Porfirio versus Kevin Gallagher. And this match goes into 2 overtimes, and then Porfirio's able to hit a calf slicer on Gallagher.
It's a pretty nice calf slicer.
The camera angle was really nice on it, too, because you can see exactly, like, he started
How he set it up from the knee bar, and how he started climbing.
Yeah, and then basically what he does is he just pulls Gallagher's hips down, and he's able to get that, like, Korean Zombie, Leonard Garcia, it was Twister. But didn't Korean Zombie hit a calf slicer the same way? It was Charles Oliveira. Oliveira hit one, and it was the same exact setup, that running man pulls the hips down, gets the tap real quick. Calf slicers blow, and so that was that match.
Yeah. I didn't see the first two matches. I ain't even gonna lie like that. Danielle Kelly versus Mary Lugano, and Mateus Alves versus Kent Alarcon.
So then let's go into the tournament then. Let's talk about the finals match between Mauricio Gomez and
William Tackett.
I was like, which Tackett is it?
William Tackett. The higher ranked Tackett.
It's the older brother Tackett.
Yes. I'm looking through like all the listings of all these people, and you see brown belt, black belt, brown belt, black belt, brown belt, black belt. There are 4 purple belts out of the 16 people in this tournament, and William Tackett won. He heel hooked Enrico Cocco,
which is impressive.
He heel hooked somebody else, and he beat Gomez on points. Like, the kid is crazy good. It's frightening.
Dude, he's winning a bunch. He won a match on Third Coast Grappling like 2 weeks ago, or last week, I think, one of the two. And then he had a match the day after he won the Midwest Finishers, their entire tournament. After that, then he comes here.
Wasn't he on Kasai?
It wouldn't surprise me. I think he might have been on under. I think it was on the undercard for Kasai.
Something.
And then then he comes here and he wins a 16-man tournament at 165. Beating Mauricio Gomez, heel hooking Cocco. Dude, what do we like? We saw him, I think, take second or third at the ADCC West Coast Trials.
He lost to Cocco then, and that's why it was
exciting.
Oh yeah, he did do Kasai. I had to go back in our chats to double check. Yes, he did Kasai and then did JitzKing. So
super active on the super fight scene, and win again. He's one of those guys, the purple belt guys that you need to start watching because they're winning stuff against legit guys, big guys. It's not like Krikorian and like another Ocasio, like a guy that you're seeing that's a purple belt coming in they can legit contend with competitive level black belts, and it's like, oh, he's young, he's 19, this is all he does. Dude to watch in the super fight scene and the Nogi scene, coming up. It wouldn't surprise me to see any of those guys in the next couple of years win a trials event, get into ADCC, get an invite. None of that would surprise me.
So you want to talk about that one thing that happened also during this card?
Oh, the slam KO?
Yes.
That a lot of people are really, really
upset about.
Really upset about.
Orlando Castillo got knocked out by a slam. Now, slams were legal in the sense of you could slam out of submission.
See, and this is where I was confused. I thought it was like fight to win rules where slams are just like legal. But
Nope.
it's ADCC rules where slams are legal out of submissions.
Yep.
And so it looked like he gets lifted up.
He was in guard. He got lifted up. And a lot of people
he goes for a triangle for a second, and then
was fishing for it. He didn't even have like the diamond position, and he was trying to dig it in and was in guard. So then he gets slammed, and gets knocked the fuck out. Like straight up, he died.
Yeah, pretty hard.
He looked like Ben Askren from that fight with Masvidal. Spoilers.
That was a good fight.
He was dead, and the other dude's passing. He doesn't realize that the guy's dead. The ref doesn't realize that he's dead. The ref is looking at him like, "Suh," and obviously the other dude is in another dimension, and then the ref's like, "Oh shit, he is not on the living plane right now." Fortunately, the medic was right behind them, and
that was good to see. The medic was like
and he's
2
good.
steps away.
He's good, but again, it wasn't out of submission, and there was a little bit of internet beef where Seth Daniels was like, "Yo, that's some Bush League ass shit," and it's like, what the hell? We have slams, but also we have this like wrestling style mat, like pro wrestling style mat. It's sprung. It's a 3-inch thick mat. I've been on it. I've fallen on it. I've slammed people on it. It's going to be really hard unless you spike somebody,
which you can't do,
to knock somebody out. I mean, don't get me wrong. If the opportunity arises, I'll try to do it, and I'm pretty sure somebody else will try to do it, but it's going to be difficult. This was just like mats on top of wood.
It's tough, man. It's an interesting.
All in all, it was a good card. Don't get me wrong, and it's a great inaugural event for the most part. There are some things that could be fixed. The gimbal for one of the cameras was visible, so I don't know if it was dying. the audio could have been touched up a little bit more.
A little bit.
It was really dark. Really dark.
But again, ran a really good inaugural event, featured a lot of good names, a lot of guys really interested in a lot of matches I wanted to see. So, like, it's awesome.
Yeah,
Again,
like, there's more good than bad. Don't get me wrong. And I want more super fights because that means we do more stuff.
Yeah.
But, some of the things, like maybe get a few, like, lights. And maybe have somebody mess around and test out the audio before you go live, where it sounds like the one guy is screaming even though he isn't. So, I look forward to the next one. I'm excited to see who's going to be on the next one.
Yeah.
And hopefully they just improve on what they have so far.
And again, like we say on the show, like a lot of times, we only cover events we like. So if we're covering the events because we liked the event. So looking forward to more JitzKing. Super excited to see
definitely
see the next event. I'm excited for it. So on to our recap of Submission Underground 9. This is Chael Sonnen's organization that takes place in a cage. This event main evented by Anthony Rumble Johnson versus Craig fucking Jones. Where do you want to start with this one, Josh?
That fucking joke of a match, Anthony Johnson versus Craig fucking Jones. Who thought this was a good idea?
You're going to come here? This is where we're going to start?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. You put a fat-ass Anthony Johnson, and granted, he's still big as shit and full of muscles. Maine said he weighed in at 274.
I think it was. I think it might have been 270. I think it was right around
Craig
there.
Jones ain't that fucking big.
He weighed in at 208, I think.
That's at least a 62-pound difference.
Via what I remember. So about 60 pounds difference, which honestly is
Anthony
less
Johnson's
than I thought it was
just
gonna be.
big as shit. And again, we were talking about it briefly. He fought at 170 before.
He also fought at 265.
And at 205
he
and
beat
185.
Orlovsky at heavyweight. He also fought dudes that at lightweight. He fought dudes at welterweight. They would later fight their career at lightweight. So literally, he fought dudes at heavyweight, and he also fought dudes who fought at 55, which is crazy.
Ridiculous. Anyway, Craig goes down. He grabs his leg, and he fucking heel hooks him. Anthony Johnson didn't even let the heel hook go all the way in. He tapped.
Why would you?
52 seconds.
51 seconds.
51, excuse me.
Why would you, though? Like,
It's fucking stupid.
Craig, like, works for about 30 seconds to enter, gets into the outside position, gets the outside heel hook, locks it up, and Anthony goes, a guy
He
known
didn't lock it up. He only had one arm.
He had the hands touched. He touched the
didn't.
hands.
He literally had this, and he tapped. And I made the arm motion of heel hook with one arm.
Yeah.
It was a joke. What a joke of a match. The fact that they put up a poll to a bunch of fucking Just Bleed fans, and it was like, who's going to win this grappling match?
That was so
and
funny.
it was like the
82% Rumble.
82% people said Anthony Johnson.
By the way, I put up a poll on our Instagram like earlier this morning, and I looked at it, and at one point there was only
87%.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it said 13% had voted for Rumble.
Yeah, right now it's 13% Rumble, 87% Jones.
I voted on that just because I thought it was silly that you put that up.
I thought it was silly too, so that's why I put it up.
Because
our demographic is jiu-jitsu fans that know that it was like this kind
Johnson
of match.
has zero fucking chance in the world to do anything. Yeah. The fact that the UFC put up, or Fight Pass or whatever put up that poll is fucking dumb. And it just shows that, like, they weren't aiming it towards jiu-jitsu people.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next. You have anything else you want to talk about this match, Josh?
Fucking stupid.
So next match. Jeez, I missed you, Josh. I missed all the editing you're going to make me do, and I'm going to forget to do it.
Hey,
and leave
it's
it
Sunday at least.
It is Sunday. I'll give you that. Thank you, Josh, for that. So next match, we had Gabriel Gonzaga versus Fabiano Scherner. These guys fought before in MMA. Gabriel got it done there, and then gets it done again here
in the overtime
via armbar. Gonzaga also looks good grappling, and he talked about a little bit in the post-fight that he is interested in potentially doing more grappling matches.
Well, he's certainly not fighting.
Nope, I don't think. Is he retired?
When was the last time you saw him fight?
Did he fight after the Krokop fight?
Where he knocked the hell out of Krokop?
No, the rematch when Krokop elbowed him from the guard and elbowed his face
and killed
up.
him?
Yeah.
I think that
was
he may have.
Okay, but like he hasn't fought in a little bit here, at least like when I remember. And
whatever, this is a jiu-jitsu podcast.
Dude, Gonzaga actually looked good here. Like I was impressed with his passing, I was impressed with the transitions. Like he looked good. I would honestly not be against him like fighting more heavyweights in jiu-jitsu. Like with this performance, like he looked good. Scherner honestly is a guy we've seen pretty notoriously produce pretty slow-paced matches, and Gonzaga was able to push the pace on him.
But he wrist-locked Tim Sylvia.
He did, and that was really funny.
That was fucking hilarious.
And we talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, I know. It's great.
So, yeah, no, I'm happy to see Gonzaga.
There's not much more to say about that.
Next match, we'll talk about Kevin Casey versus Micah Bakerfield.
Breakfield.
Not a good name reader, Josh?
I'm aware of that. Kevin Casey got on top and methodically passed his guard and held him there. And
Pretty much the whole regulation match.
It went to overtime, and then he quickly armbarred him in the first round of overtime, and then quickly escaped in like 3 seconds.
I was actually really impressed with the escape there. Like he just immediately he knows those rules. Like he's competed in the EBI rules a bunch
and
at this
he's been
point.
doing jiu-jitsu since forever ago. Yes.
Yeah. So gets it done. So you have anything? Oh yeah. So cool thing at the end of the Craig Jones and Anthony Johnson, not Joshua. Yeah,
Anthony
I have
Joshua
boxing
is
in my
the
head.
boxing.
Yeah. Chael was like, "Hey, do you want to fight Jacare? Because I've been talking to Jacare." And Craig was like, "I'll fucking fight Jacare."
That'll be an exciting match.
That would actually, because like, when's the last time we've seen Jacare take a submission only match, or like not a submission only, a jiu-jitsu match?
No idea.
So
I can't remember.
So that'll be super exciting. And again, nothing's confirmed yet, but I assume Chael is trying to put the pressure on Jacare by announcing it on this and like asking Craig if he would take the match before it's actually signed. But I would be super interested in seeing that matchup. Honestly, that would be, I think, one of the more compelling matchups that SUG has ever kind of put up on a main card event.
Yes.
For at least for jiu-jitsu fans. So I'd be super interested in that. That does it for SUG 9. Josh, do you have anything else? There was a bunch of other tag team matches and other stuff that we typically don't cover on the show just because it's
weird.
It's way different, and we don't really like.
So-and-so tagged in so-and-so, and then there was like a triple armbar.
Yeah, I just don't know how we would like effectively. It's probably doing play-by-play. Like it's such a weird like thing. We don't really cover it on the show. It happened. If you're interested in it, it is up there.
It's on Fight Pass.
Fight Pass honestly is one of the easiest interfaces to like rewatch grappling events because they actually like list the submission and the time, and it's a pretty good interface. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot else for the event.
Nerp.
All right. So on to the preview section, we're going to talk about Subversiv 2. This is Subversiv's second event, if you didn't get that from the name. What Subversiv is kind of like a quintet-style event, but it's a team format, but what you have is you have a fighter at 145, 165, 185, and then 205, and then you have a female fighter typically at around like 130 or something like that. I'm actually not sure. The female fighter is actually not listed for a weight class here for what we're looking at, but I think it's typically about 125 to 145. So
interesting.
That's it, Josh. Interesting. So this is for 10 grand as well. So
what's weird is they don't have multiple teams, or do they? Do they have multiple teams?
Oh snap! That's interesting. So
no, it's just like so. This is also interesting is that it's Team 10th Planet who won the last one.
Yep.
Versus Team Red Buoy.
Yeah, that's CBD company.
Yes, but it's just like a hand-picked team.
Yeah.
They were like, let's get all these people together and try to make this super team.
Man,
and I'm not mad at that.
Very few teams can field like a full team of people. I honestly don't really have a problem with that.
Team Atos.
Team
Alliance.
Well, Lloyd Irvin did it last time. Carlson Grace did it last time. 10th Planet does it all the time.
There's tons of people. I think they were just like, let's make a super team.
And it is definitely a super team. So yeah, last time Subversiv ran this, they ran basically 4 teams, and it was like a quintet style. You win your first team and your second team. For this Subversiv, it is the first team to win 3 matches. And it actually came down to the women's match last time, which was awesome. So
and this is the other thing, is this is essentially fight to win. But
oh yeah, basically. It's
just like a team thing. So you have the 2 teams, but then you have a card underneath of it.
And we're gonna get into that.
Okay.
So let's talk about the card first. At 145 for Team Red Bull, we have João Miao versus Gio Martinez on Team 10th Planet. These guys have met once or twice before. I know they met once before. I know João took it on, was it points? Or was it a ref decision? I forget what. I think it was honestly close.
Yeah.
But like Miao was able to take it. At 165, we have DJ Jackson versus Ruben Riviera for Team 10th Planet. Jackson is moving down in weight. Like we've seen him get.
Well, he talked about it at Fight to Win in Maryland that he was actually getting lighter so he could be in the 77 kilogram bracket.
Because that's where he thought he was going to get his invite. That's where he got his invite. And he's like, look, I can't be walking around at usually what he's walking out, 85, 90?
Something like that.
I think I've seen him fight
Fire hydrant of a
I think I saw him fight at Shogun fights, an MMA fight at like 170.
He did a 170 fight for Shogun.
I think that was the fight that I saw him MMA. But so that's 165. So it's Jackson's obviously looking a lot more lean recently, so that'll be a fun matchup. And at 185, we have Rolando Jr.
Ronaldo, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we've seen Ronaldo.
He's out of Atos. We saw him on the Royal Invitational as well a couple years ago. He's versus Kyle Chambers. Is that the dude from Human Weapon? Is that Kyle Chambers?
I mean, you are putting me on the spot. I assume it is.
I find that funny. Anyway, the 205 match, Gabriel Almeida
versus Kyle Bame.
Yeah.
And then the female match, we have Patty Fontes versus Elvira Karpenen.
I think Elvira is significantly bigger than Patty.
I want to say Elvira's like a 35er and Patty's a 20?
No.
Or a strawweight?
Isn't Elvira in the plus 60 kilo?
Is she?
For ADCC?
She went against Dern last time. I thought Dern was under 60. Because women, it's just over 60.
Yeah. I don't know why I thought she was bigger than that. Oh, well.
Because she does really well against like all sizes. I think she competed in the absolute. If I could be incorrect, but we've seen her a bunch. She's looked murderous. We saw her on Quintet. We've seen her in ADCC. Like she is one of 10th Planet's best women.
Best competitors. Period.
And dude, Patty Fontes is a world beater as well. So that'll be a super exciting matchup. And Nogi.
Will it even make it to that? That's the other thing.
Yeah, because I assume they're going to run it from the lower to the higher weight. They could do it a different way, but they usually run it from the lower weight classes to the higher weight classes, ending with the ladies. So
it'll be interesting to see how it runs. You want to get into the rest of the card?
Let's get into the rest of the card. We have a 220-pound black belt Nogi bout.
Kevin Casey versus Gokor Armbarian.
We have a 220-pound black belt gi match.
Steven Martinez versus Donald Bailey.
200-pound black belt gi match.
Omar Saba versus Marcelo Lucena.
190-pound black belt gi match.
To be announced versus Marco Cruzat.
We have a 180-pound black belt gi match.
Jason Youssef versus Fabio Trindade.
We have a 170-pound black belt gi match.
Victor Silviero versus Thiago Lemos.
We have a 170-pound black belt gi match.
Juan Barbosa versus Thomas Keenan.
165-pound black belt gi bout.
Jimmy Tat versus Bruno Carvalho.
165-pound black belt nogi.
Ruben, he's really competing in the team match and the team and the singles? Yep. Yes, he is.
Oh, now look at that.
Yes, he is.
Good for him.
Ruben Rivera versus Noah Tillis.
155-pound black belt gi bout.
Peter Kahn versus Kleber Luciano.
155-pound black belt gi match.
Jose Gutierrez versus Jordan Holly.
Jordan Holy, I think.
Holy, sorry.
Yeah. It took me a year. I finally got his name. 130-pound black belt gi bout.
Natalie Hibero versus Liz Excel.
120-pound black belt gi bout.
Amanda Santos Miller versus Lila Smaja.
We were a 225-pound black belt judo match.
Some big-ass dudes. Tybrin Lee versus Alexandre Dos Santos.
We were a 225-pound black belt judo match.
David Dunphy versus Luis Claudio Pereira Alves Jr. I nailed all of that.
That was good, Josh. We have a 185-pound black belt judo match.
Brian Mendez versus German Echeverra.
Yo, where are they for these judo? Where are they? Where's this event?
This is in California,
Oh, it's
brother.
in Los Angeles. Okay. Sweet.
Kind of bummed I'm not going to be out there for this.
Hey, you're going out there soon, aren't you?
Yes, in August.
We have a 180-pound black belt judo match.
Angel Merez versus Tetsuya Numata.
I'm going to be out there for ADCC in September. So we have a 170-pound black belt judo match.
Chris Zakarian versus Dennis Trofimov.
And then we move into the brown belts and we move into the purple belt deal. Honestly, a huge black belt card here.
Don't go too fast. I'm going to see who all is on this one.
Yeah, that's why I'm scrolling nice and slow, Josh.
Ooh.
We have Albert Tapia on here, the brown belt match.
Yeah, that'll be a
Let's
good
see.
one.
We have Jessica Khan in a nogi bout from AOJ.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. There's
let's
only
see.
a couple of purple belt matches on here, and then it's
Dude, it is a loaded
few-
black belt card.
a few brown belts, and tons of black belts, both in regular competition and in judo.
Regular competition. Jiu-Jitsu is now regular competition,
Yes.
Josh.
Yes,
So
goddammit.
this starts at July 13th at 8:30 Los Angeles time. So it's going to start super late, but should be a lot of fun.
Pretty sure it starts at 8:30 here.
Probably, Josh.
Which starts 5:30 there, because
Yep.
they normally
Start
Fight
at
to Win
5.
starts at like that 5:30
Yeah.
time. So 8:30 here. That I think is gonna run a little late.
Dude, all the Cali cards are me in my bed with my ear pods in, like watching jiu-jitsu. Like, man, this is awesome.
It's me trying not to fall asleep, and I'm like,
man, we got old all of a sudden.
I've been old.
Yeah. So that does it. Anything else on Subversive 2, Josh?
Nope. Just looking forward to it.
Awesome. So I want to do a preview of the Australian Grappling Championships 4. The running event usually streams on Facebook, AGC. Again, we like to cover these promotions that run on Facebook that are a little smaller. So they have a over 77 kilogram division featuring
Daniel Shrout, Dwight Schrute. Oh yeah, I'm gonna fuck that one up.
That was terrible, Josh.
I know. Look, you say it.
I'm not gonna say it, Josh. I'm not good with the names.
Like I almost at first said Shart, which it actually might be.
Is it Shoot Art?
No, like
Shart?
SCHAURDT. That Shart.
And he's
Anyway. He's versus Tom Crosby. I can say that name. Adam Jones, apparently the baseball player, former Oriole, versus Tom Davis. I'm totally kidding, by the way. Scott Gamble versus Rice Mathers. You have Farouk Medjevic. I killed that one.
That was good.
Versus James Matthews.
And then they are also running a under 77 kilogram division
with Jeremy Skinner versus Andy Keel or Kyle. Again, if you don't want us to kill these, please break down your name and how to say it, because we are stupid.
It's at the bumper of every end of the show. If you have a name and you'd like to stop butchering it, let us know. If you don't let us know, I apologize up front.
Jesse Lawton versus Jordan Crispin. You have Jacob Garvey versus Marcus McCormick. Brad Wiedenhofer versus Richard Oliver.
There's also a bunch of other super fights on the card, and so usually it streams on Facebook. If you're interested, definitely check it out. So Josh and I just got done doing some math to actually figure out when that card was, and it takes place at about 4 a.m. East Coast time on Friday.
We think.
Would it be July 12th?
No, technically that's Saturday.
For them.
14.
Man, this is
For them, it's 6 p.m. Saturday the 13th.
So if you're in Australia,
jump back 14 hours, which I think they're ahead 14 hours.
Give or take.
Give or take. I can ask Siri right now on the recording.
When I was there, it was 13 and a half hours when I was in Adelaide. So,
okay.
There was like daylight savings or something else. And so like it happens roughly at 4 or 5 a.m. East Coast time on Friday.
Saturday. It's not 24
Check it
fucking
out. Man, I don't know how time works, Josh.
It's not 36 hours, some crazy shit.
Flying back is 36 hours, though. It's the craziest shit ever. I had a 36-hour Tuesday. Because you fly over the dateline halfway through, and like I left Australia on a Tuesday, and then I got back to Boston at 11:47 p.m. on Tuesday. And it was 36 hours later.
That sounds awful.
And my body was like, what the fuck? And the opening ceremonies for the Olympics were happening. And I remember getting to the hotel in Boston and watching the Olympics and like, what is happening right now? Like my body's like, what did you just do to me? You put me in a metal box for 15 hours. And we had like a 9-hour layover in LA as well.
You could have got some like coffee and shit.
Dude, my body was jacked. It was like, what did you just do to me? So anyone flying from Australia, props to you. So that does it for this. That does it for this week on the show. Promotions for this weekend. It was good. I got to watch some dope ass MMA fights. I got to watch Masvidal flying knee.
How much did you drink yesterday?
Not much.
Really?
I had Rachel drive home though.
Oh,
because I'm a responsible person.
Oh, I drank a lot.
Did you?
A lot.
You weren't that drunk when I saw you.
Oh, I was. I'm just good at keeping myself together.
Yeah, I'm not.
Scott brought that big old jug of mixed whatever it was.
Oh, yeah, that you drank. You were like, oh, I have some. And then you drank it the rest in front of me. And you were like,
there
nope.
was like a shot of it left.
Yeah, and I wanted to have some. And you went. And
but
Josh,
he handed it to me and offered me first before he even talked to you.
Okay, and then he came over to me and was like, you want some? And Josh looks at me and drinks the rest of it, like maintaining eye contact the whole time. That's the level of relationship that Josh has.
I have to keep my alpha status in this relationship.
That is the level that Josh, you looked at me like from like 10 feet away, just made eye contact, drank the rest of it, and held it like towards me like, you can't drink this now.
That's very true that I did do that. But beforehand, when he gave it to me, I took quite a few gulps of it earlier in the day. So
you were lit. Guys getting promoted.
I was inebriated.
We had
my wife drove home.
Awesome. We had a proposal at the promotion as well.
Oh yeah, you had one of those at your gym before. We have. if we had the video,
I have the
us.
I have the video.
You have the video?
Yeah, I took as soon
Do
as
you have me like spinning around in
no,
circles
I was
screaming?
I was back in the purple belts, Josh, so I don't have that section of the video.
I was out in the middle of the mat looking like an airplane.
Now you were next to the office, Josh.
I came forward
Okay.
and I spun around like a crazy person.
So we have a great, outstanding proposal at the gym.
We have a great couple. 2 of the nicest people ever.
Unless you're under bottom side control, but yeah,
No, that doesn't even matter. They're still like great people
they
in
are
general.
great people. But
So
yeah,
congrats to
Josh
Chris
and Jeff.
Ann
Yeah, congrats to them.
on their engagement. She said yes, obviously.
So Josh and Jeff Mount were, you can see them in the video, like jump like happy little schoolgirl, like yay, and it was like adorable.
Dude, we were stoked.
It was super cute. It was a great like cap off to like Ann got her blue belt, Chris got his brown belt, and then he was like,
Then he
hey,
was like, "Hey, check out this jewelry I
Hey,
got you, girl."
you want to do this forever? And she was like, yeah. So that was super cute.
Forever and ever,
So,
be
so
my
it was a weekend. Got to watch some jiu-jitsu. Got 4 days off from work. It was great. Thank you to the governor for giving us off Friday.
I had 4th of July off,
It was slick.
and I'm normally off on Wednesdays, which was the 3rd.
Sweet.
And then we were open for some reason or another the entire weekend, and it was slow.
We actually stopped in. Rich and I actually stopped in at your restaurant.
They love coming in when I'm not there.
Josh, I actually enjoy your company, so I always get kind of bummed when Rich is like, let's get ramen. And it's like a Sunday. I'm like, fuck, Josh isn't there.
No, I'm not there.
So what do you got planned for this weekend? This week other than the Aaron Hurl seminar?
This coming week, I don't know.
You just training?
Watch my kids swim.
You competing
on
on
a
anything
swim
coming
team.
up? You dropping weight for anything? You getting fat for anything?
I mean, I stay fat, brother.
You look a little slim. You were dapper yesterday.
I'm not. Everybody just liked my banana shirt. That's
It was
why.
pretty slick.
Am I doing something? I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't really looked into it too much. I'll probably find something. I might do nogi pants in October.
I think usually in October.
Something like October, November, something like that. I don't know. Have to discuss it with the wife. Figure out times.
It's
you know.
close. I mean, it's not that far away. It's New York.
It's still fucking New York.
Yeah, I got a hotel last time I did it. I was like,
I
fuck
didn't.
that. I also,
I take the mega bus up.
ugh.
I get dropped off. I then get on the A train and go all the way up to Spanish Harlem. And then I know the exact stop that I have to get off. I walk over 3 blocks and up 1 block, and I'm there.
Yeah, I cut a bunch of weight, so I didn't want to be trying to like drive and get to New York while cutting a ton of weight.
I never told you about the time that I did that while I was riding the bus up there.
No, what happened?
Oh, man.
Well, okay, give us a year, give us a belt, and then
Blue belt,
okay.
2000.
I also did pans at blue belt. Nogi pans at blue belt.
What year was that? I don't remember the year, but
Give
I'm
us a
cutting weight.
range. 2012, 2011, 2008.
No. 2009,
Okay,
maybe 2010.
so
I
a
can't
decade
remember.
ago. Got it.
Some shit like that. And so I go up there. Nobody knows what I'm wearing. I have sweat clothes on. Underneath, I have a sauna suit on, so I'm sweaty. But it's not as bad as the 2 smelly people that I had to sit in between. They smell terrible. And it's 4 o'clock in the morning when I'm taking this bus ride. So I'm trying to sleep. They didn't shut
Oh, so you're blue belt. So you're early in the morning.
Yeah,
I
9
was-
o'clock in the morning.
I was the first match of the day.
9
when I was
o'clock in
there.
the morning.
Yeah.
Those are always the worst.
Yep.
So, they wouldn't shut the fuck up. I'm trying to sleep. I'm angry. They stink. They legitimately smell like BO. I'm angry at that. Then I have to go over. By the time I get there, navigating the train station, some guy yelled at my shirt. He was like, "Oh," and I was like, what? Why are you yelling at me? Got on the train, got off, went up and over, had to go do the hand stamp and check-in thing, got in, had to weigh in like immediately. And I was like, I'm dead. Why did I even do this? I'm so miserable right now. And then I proceeded to lose.
Dude, when I did pans, I lost a super bullshit decision, and then I was pissed, and then I had a guy come up to me, another blue belt, and he goes, "Hey," he's kind of weird, but like I can tell exactly what he wants, and he's like, "Did you go already?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you win or lose?" I was like, "I lost," and he goes, I was like, "Do you want my rash guard?" He goes, "Yeah, can I wear your rash guard? Your sweaty rash guard?" And I was like, Yeah, you can.
That's fucking gross.
And so he puts on my sweaty rash guard, and then he can't open as a guy and gets DQ'd.
So was it the rash guard or just he was an idiot?
He was winning like handily, and then like can't open the guy. It was like, what do you?
Because he's an idiot.
It's blue belt. Like, what do you want from people? A blue belt. Like, it was a hobbyist blue belt. Like, I was a hobbyist blue belt going to no-gi pans. Had no business in no-gi pans.
I'm doing adult black belt.
Masters, Josh. You're old
No,
now.
fuck that.
You're old, Josh.
Fuck that. I'll do
Lean
adult.
into it.
No.
I'm so
hopefully-
excited to age into Masters. My fucking, like, broken ass. I'm like, yeah, 30 years old. Here we come. I fight
No.
old guys now. I'm looking forward to fighting not 19-year-old killers, Josh. It's great.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, because your priorities are misshapen, Josh. That's why.
True, but
So Josh may do no-gi pans. We'll see. I'll believe when I see it, Josh. What weight class you going to go?
medium heavy.
Okay. That's reasonable.
Medium is kind of like, it's a stretch. It's like
Don't do medium again.
It's like 167 without the gi.
Don't do that to yourself.
Dude, I look so shredded.
Yeah, no, you look emaciated.
I look so shredded.
Yeah. Look, I look good at 35.
I've got the dick lines.
The V. Josh is pointing to the V. The leg V.
I call them the dick lines. I get those. I get like sort of abs.
Josh, I think it's good that you're only on the show like every occasionally now. I think you just turn off every.
Okay, let's be real here. I have said fuck maybe 10 times. Emil says fuck 10 times in the intro.
He likes to curse.
He does.
I like to curse too, but
I think it's hilarious.
it is pretty hilarious.
I just have great anecdotes and stories.
You definitely did. You've been
And-
around for a long time, and you've been like into jiu-jitsu and like a super nerd for like a decade. And
Well,
so
more
like
than that,
yeah,
but
more
yeah.
than that, but yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun. So when's the next time you're on the show? What's the next event that we're gonna grab you for? Josh with the usually I tell Josh like, hey, you can be on the show next week, and be like, I can do it.
Yeah, like I just try to balance my work family life, and it's like, so I try to be a responsible adult and communicate with my wife like, hey, I'm going to do this next week. Because before I'd be like, I got asked a few days ago and I totally forgot, which I have a terrible habit of doing. I forget shit really easily. I'm like, I'm going to record tonight. She's like, oh, God, fucking dickhead. It's like, can you give me more than like 45 minutes notice? I'm like, just remembered. So she's like, can you like write the shit down
So
or something?
text your wife then. Text your wife and you.
Yeah, I'll
in a
just
group
figure it
thread.
out.
Awesome. So anything else, Josh?
Nope, that's it. I think that's it.
I'm glad I have a day to edit all this.
So do I. I wish I said more fucked up stuff though, so it would make your job that much harder.
It already is.
Please, please use what I said in the beginning before we actually started recording for an Instagram post, because that would be hilarious.
All right. As always on the show, I'm your host, Maine.
And I'm occasionally Josh.
When we are the Grappling Rewind, we'll see you on the mats. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Google+,
Until that shuts down.
we have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
Let us know.
reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.